Hello friends, welcome to economics lovers. Today I will discuss about a new concept, that is Coase theorem from environment economics. So Coase theorem originally the article of the problem of social cost, which is published in 1960 by Roland Coase. So here is the introduction about Coase theorem. So before starting about Coase theorem, we should discuss about background of the Coase theorem. So here Coase does not consider Pigu's argument. Okay, Pigu said that if anyone emitting or any industry emitting negative externalities, they will be taxed. Okay, so when anyone is emitting uh, negative externalities, they will be taxed. But also subsidy. Okay, subsidy when they producing positive externalities. Okay, but underproduced. In that case, Pigu mentioned that tax subsidy cases. So here the Pigu's argument, but coach take it in different view. So in this section I will discuss. Okay. So before start to the Coase theorem, we should know what is property right, what is transaction cost, why property rights arises. We should clear this concept. After clearing this concept, it will be more easier to understand the Coase theorem. Okay. So at first introduction, to see why property rights are important, we see why property rights important. Let's return to a example of farm that dumps effluent into river. That means a farm emitting or producing uh, pollution that goes to the river. We assume that both it had a property right to use the river to dispose of its waste, and that the fisherman did not have the property right to uh, effluent free. Effluent free. So they are saying that both parties have the right, okay, to use the river. Okay, but 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 their condition is that uh, fishermen have no right to get pollution free water. Okay, so they are what happening, they are happening the case of the uh, not well defined property. So when no well defined property clearly mentioned, then the problem is arising. So here the problem arises. This is the what this is the pollution, not pollution free water. Who getting? Fishermen. As a result, farm had no incentive to include cost of influent to its production calculation. So here only farm in calculating its marginal cost, not calculating social marginal cost or marginal abatement cost for pollution. Okay, so as a result, okay, okay, in other words, the farm externalize the cost of generated by influence. So what is externalize? Externalize, internalize. Here two concept. Internalize means within, externalize means outside. So internalize means here positive externality or negative externality they generating. So here considering a farm, that is the here we considered is a farm. Okay, so externalize means what what producing externalized to is coming from the externality. Okay, so externalize and internalize means within, it will not be outside to affect other. Okay, so here the firm externalize the cost generated by the influent. So here externalize 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 the cost generated by the influent. Okay, so here firm is externalized. Okay, means they giving the negative externalities. Okay, so externalize two types, positives or negative. So externalities here is the negative. But suppose that the fisherman had the poverty rights. At first we had considered that no poverty rights, but here considering that fishermen have the poverty rights to clean water. When we have poverty rights, that means we can get the clean water. That's yes, it's true. In that case, they could demand that farm pay them for the right to dump influent. So when poverty right is clearly defined, in that situation farm must have to pay for that influent. Oh, okay, for that influent the farm would either cease production or pay the cost associated with the influent. Okay, so when poverty right clearly defined, in that case farm have to stop the production because of they gaining or they providing providing the negative externalities. Okay, so in that case they have to stop production or they have to pay uh, for the for the negative externality. That means it may be bribe. That means money have to provide in terms of uh, into the not in terms, it's provide to the fishermen because of um, they affecting by these activities. Okay, so this cost would be internalized and efficient allocation of resource achieved. So internalized means this effect will be internalized. Okay, it will not be effect to any other parties. Okay, so I think I have already cleared what is the internalized, what is the externalized. Externalized will not be internalized will not be effect to any other. Internalized means it will be externalized means it will be effect other party. Internalized means it will not affect to any other parties. Okay, it may be positive effect or negative effect. Okay, okay. So property rights, legal rules stating that peoples or firm may do with their property. Sorry. So legal rules. It is obvious that legal rules stating that people or firms may do with their property. It is obvious. It is legal rules with their properties. Okay, people can do. Transaction cost. Here is the one important concept before starting Coase theorem. According to Coase, transaction cost means the cost of negotiating or enforcing contract. So transaction cost means, so if we go to the transaction, that means I am I am emitting pollution. For that reason my production is affected. Okay, I am another party. Okay, so in that situation there must be a negotiation bargaining between these two parties. Okay, this is the transaction cost. Okay, the existence of different transaction cost create the opportunity for one person choice to impact on others. It is obvious. When differential transaction costs, then opportunities. There are opportunities person to choice impact on others. Okay. When differential transaction costs, then opportunity for others. One person to, to choose a impact on others. It is obvious. It is property rights that direct and control this choice. Okay. So meaning of Coase theorem. Professor R. Coase, Roland Coase point out that if property right are clearly defined, the effective party will adopt policies to internalize the externality. So here means the Coase said that if property right clearly defined, okay, so affected party, that means when property right clearly defined, they will not get externalities, positive externalities. They must be get negative externalities. So in that situation, they internalize the effect. That means internalize the externalities. Okay, so this effect will not hamper anyone. Okay, So this will be internalize, externalize, internalize. This is the externalities. Okay. So internalize and externalize, it can be maybe positive or negative. Okay. When in that case negative, so in that reason they internalize who? Affected parties. Okay. And here Coase explain property right in two theorems. Okay, we will discuss two theorems. And before starting, okay, so before starting the theory, we should assume this assumption. What is this? Number of contrast parties is very small. Obviously, Coase consider only affected parties. Sorry, not affected parties. Participating parties is two. We will discuss here. So here considered very small. So there are no transaction cost. Here is it is very interesting, or cost of negotiation, it is very irrelevant assumption. Coach mentioned that is very irrelevant assumption uh, to economics, but when uh, according to his argument, when transaction takes place, it will not be go through the market. So in that situation there will be no transaction cost. But before Coase theorem, like Pigu or other economists, for bargaining there a transaction cost, but according to Coase they have not considered any kind of transaction cost. Okay, there are no income or wealth effect. So when you consider Coase theorem, there will not income effect or wealth effect, and there is no government intervention. Consider that there are no government intervention. Okay, so here then we will start the model. Okay, so let us take Coase famous example. It is very famous example. When I read the journal of the Coase theory, I first uh, go through this journal, but it is very hard to understand to me. I have read various books to understand this theory. Okay, so I compose this theory from various book, okay, as well as from journal. uh, I have to study very hard to prepare this lecture. Okay, I there is the main intention is that if you are get any help from me, and if you mm, impress me that it is very good to me, then uh, I will feel very proud. I am do something for you. Okay, nothing else. Anyway, we are going towards example. Let us take Coase famous example of only two parties, a cattle raiser and a wheat producing farmer. Okay, they are operating on neighborhood properties. Okay, so they operating at neighborhood properties. Okay, without any fencing. Fences mean there are no barrier. There are no barrier. Okay, there are no obstacle. Okay, the externality is damage done by cattle roaming, by grazing. Cattle raiser means who have animals, they grazing in fields. Okay, so it is the cattle raiser. Okay, or cattle roaming. On the unfenced means unfenced means no barrier land of the farmer. Okay, so in the so externality, so they are the externality damage done by the cattle roaming on the unfenced land of the farmer. Okay, so it is obviously negative. Okay, externality. So as the cattle rises, that means number of cattle by the cattle riser, the size of herd, that means flock, the damage to the farmer crops increases. It is obvious when cattle riser increases, cattle riser grazing, and as well as number of cattle increases, there must be harm to the farmer, obviously increase. Okay, so their condition is their condition is the no fencing. Okay, no fencing. Okay, so in that situation the cattle are going to destroy the crops of farmer. Okay, so next, first and second, we divide this two cases, huh? First and seconds. What the first saying? The farmer has right that his wheat be not destroyed. Farmer has right. What? His wheat not to be destroyed. Therefore, the cattle have to pay damage to the farmer. Here, property rights is given. Well defined property rights. So farmer have to pay for that, for crop destroying. Okay, for crop destroying. If property right well defined, I already mentioned here, which is nothing but marginal environment cost. Marginal environment cost means it is the environment terms when we are uh, going to generate some negative or pollution, then we have to pay for that pollution, which is the marginal environment cost. Okay, then cattle will reduce number of cattle at manageable rate. That means they have to pay for that reason. If they say that when I going to uh, pay for this, who? Cattle raiser. That means if he see that, if he see that um, if you see that I am paying which is greater, I am paying which is greater than my profit, so obviously he will reduce the cattle. Okay, so here this saying. Okay, nothing but therefore the cattle have to pay damage to the farmer. Okay, for crop dusting. Okay, I already mentioned that cattle will reduce number of crops at manageable range here. So cattle have to reduce at manageable range. And second is what? If the law is that cattle has no liability, okay, here property rights no mentioned, so no liability. Okay, for damage or destruction, it will now be advisable for the farmer to bribe. So when property right is not well defined, so there will be a mutual understanding. Okay, mutual dependency. Okay, there you go, mutual dependency. Okay, the catalyzer to keep his heart at minimum level. So farmer will bribe because of poverty level is well not defined, not well defined. So for that reason, if catalyzer will get bribe from the farmer. Okay, the catalyzer keep his heart at minimum level. Why paying? The paying because of to maintain or minimize the cattle roaming or cattle grazing, because of poverty is not defined, it is only defined. I explain these sentences. Okay, the condition of rising cattle is DC. There is the explanation of the graph. Okay, here I will explain this graph. Okay, so here it is at first I have to say what is this. So here uh, in in vertical axis we measure the damage, and in horizontal axis we measure the cattle per year, and it is the demand demand curve of the cattle riser, which is equal to margin revenue and average revenue. Okay, it is the all about cattle riser, and it is the marginal cost, which is this is the marginal cost of cattle riser. Here in that situation when okay, I will explain, and let me, and in that situation it is the marginal social cost. Okay, it is the, at that point it is the marginal social cost, it is the marginal social cost curve, it is the sum of the marginal social cost curve as well as MC or marginal cost curve. Okay, so let me explain this. The condition of grazing cattle is DC equal to MRC ARC, the marginal cost of rising or grazing cattle. MC cut the DC curve at L1 here, at L1, and cattle would rise, uh, obviously rise OQ1. Okay, cattle per year. Therefore, the marginal social cost of wheat is MSC W1, marginal social cost W1. That means W1 means it is the wheat producer. Okay, here we take the example of wheat and cattle. Okay, so marginal social cost of wheat, that's okay, and loss to the wheat crop is the OW1. Here this amount loss to the wheat producer. Okay, if bribe equal to damage is added to the marginal cost. If bribe means money given to the uh, given to the whom? If given to the cattle riser, the added is marginal cost plus OW1. That's is this curve. Okay. Then the optimal solution will be at point L2. Here L2. Okay. Where MCC plus OW1, marginal cost of catalyzer plus cost that doing cattle riser is the OW1. Cars DC curve or that is demand curve at DC, and the cattle number restricted to the OQT. Here OQT. So when uh, their mutual understanding, they will reduce. Okay, they will reduce. When they reduce, then obviously output of catalyzer reduces, but here total output of both must be increased, because we have not taken a numerical example. I am very sorry, but you understand what I am saying. Suppose at first there L1. Okay, at L1, number of catalyzer or number of herding. Okay, number of yes, number of grazing was high, so so in that situation farmer production obviously decrease, affected, damaged. It is true. So in that situation only fertilizer production was high. In that situation farmer production obviously affected, destroyed it. Okay, so when they come in mutual understanding, it is true that fertilizer production reduces, but farm production increases. Okay, because of that his damage decreases. Then total efficient output, optimal output increases. Okay, so they are in this graph I have not mentioned that all about uh, farmer. So I giving all about behind the graph, behind this theorem. Okay, if you go through the actual theorem, you will understand what is the tricky theorem is. Okay. Coach coach have already mentioned that I am sorry, many economists taking it in different sense. I am sorry for that. Okay, coach already said about this. Okay, next thing is the, according to coach, market failure due to property right can be emitted through the private bargaining among the affected parties. It is true. So market failure when occurring, market failure occurring because of uh, no property rights. So in this case, market failure can be eliminated through the property rights. Okay, because of we see that in case of public goods, market failure occur. When it will be property right well defined, then the bargaining will come, then the market failure automatically eliminated. He pointed out that if property rights are clearly defined and marketable and transaction costs are zero. Okay, so here he mentioned that when that the property rights are well defined and marketable. Marketable means it can be uh, buy or sell. Okay, but it is not necessary, but not is important. So in that situation transaction cost are zero. And second theorem, it is important, then our lecture will be finished. Okay, second theorem of course provide a natural link between economics and laws. It is very important to say this. Coase theorem is the very important, or it is applicable, or it is path breaking to the law as well as economics. When you go through the journal of the Coase theorem, they are mentioned that economics as well as law. Okay, okay, okay. Second theorem of Coase provides a natural link between economics and law, a offering an efficiency rationally for the deciding externality liabilities rules. Liabilities means what have to pay. Liability, it is my liability. Okay. Coase has related his second theorem to the problem caused by the sparks emitted. Sparks means uh, one kind of damage that are released by the brick field. Okay, brick field that are generated by the brick field. Okay. Here consider that so sparks basically come from bricks field, but here consider the emitted by the coal and wood for steam engine. Okay. So by burning of the coal. Okay, emitted by the coal wood power steam engine. The problem is that fires emitted caused by the sparks. So when sparks emitting, so in that situation fire can be fire can be arises. Fire can be uh, fire can be, I mean to say, fire can be arises. Okay, in that situation when sparks emitted, then fire problem can be arises. Okay, nearby agriculture fields. Where nearby agriculture fields. In the absence of ruling government compensation for farms damage, it creates negative externalities. Okay, they are already mentioned that no government intervention, so there will be negative externalities. Since rail companies have little incentive to prevent spark, so here rail companies have the little incentive to prevent sparks. Okay, that means to reduce sparks. On the other hand, rail companies may pay full compensation. Why? We will see that may property owner with little or no intention to protect themselves. In that situation, when full compensation is given by the rail, then why she will take any incentive to protect themselves? It is better for rail companies to take defective measure or for farmer to defective measure. Here saying it is good to take defensive measure by farmer or by rail companies. This is done depend on whether the farmers can sue for damage. It is depend on the farmers uh, what he getting for his damage. Okay. Okay, so who will take is depend upon the damage of farmers or damage he getting from the rail. Okay, for that he getting. Okay, so in the situation who will take this measure. Okay, here say that the mutual interdependence outcome will be efficient. Okay, it is efficient. That means without cooperation is which generate a limited output or not a sufficient output, but with cooperation they can generate a sufficient output or optimum output. If we go through the Ravenfield twin diagram, then we will get this example. Okay, the problem of parts can be solved in the following ways. What? The limit of the amount of train traffic. Okay, train traffic by train traffic. Okay, rail companies should install some type of parks inhibiting device, that means reducing device. Okay. Okay, and farmers should plant their crops several years further away from the railway tracks, or it may be farmer to better to cultivate far away from the uh, in rail track. Okay, so it was all about Coase theorem. It is very tricky theorem. Okay, so I am going to finish my lecture. In next lecture I will discuss a very important concept of environment economics. Then after finishing lecture of environment economics, I will go to the microeconomics and other portion. Okay. Okay, thank you. Thanks for watching. Like, yes, if it is good then like, and it is if it is good then comment, and if you have any query about this you can comment. Also share it if you like it. You can help your friend to share this. Okay.